Hello and welcome to Dateline New Haven on WNHH-FM, New Haven's home for community radio. I'm Paul Bass, inviting you to look behind the headlines on the stories that make our community tick. Well, I've been learning about a really fun and interesting and heartwarming story that involves family. There are all sorts of folks who have been meeting in New Haven and other parts of town to get ready for a blowout event coming up in September, mid-September. A story that began in Greenville, South Carolina at Haddock's Crossing Road, and now is an annual event that's important to so many people in New Haven who descend from that area. It's the Family Day anniversary, the Mills Family Reunion for Connecticut. The reunion's all over the country. This is ours. And a gentleman who for 40 years has been working on these reunions in South Carolina, in New Haven, to keep family together, is here to tell us what all the plans are about and why it all came about. Sean Hardy of New Haven, you hear him on this radio station often in many capacities in town, including community work and education work. And he's here to give us a kind of heartwarming update on what family means in 2025. Sean Hardy, welcome back to the studio. It's so nice to see you today.
Thank you, Paul Bass. It's good to be with you. It's good to be back in the studio. And I'm always grateful to your invitations.
All right. So September 14th.
Yes.
At St. Matthew UF United Free Will Baptist Church on 400 Dixwell Avenue. There's going to be a reunion.
Yes.
People in Connecticut.
Yes, the Connecticut child. We're originally from Greenville, North Carolina.
Or North Carolina.
North Carolina. Pitt County, North Carolina, the Haddock's Crossroad community of Pitt County, North Carolina. And we are the Connecticut chapter. I have a lot of relatives in Connecticut and New Haven. This is the Mill side. So we started our chapter in 1985. The late Doris Mills Moy and Mary Mills Green and Linda Sue Austin and Louise Mills Hardy and Amy Mills Smedley and David Moy and Ronnie Moy and Diane Frazier and myself, and we have Lieutenant Anthony Dawson and Carol Teal and Eric Rogers, Marion Cat Frazier, they really the late Carol Moy and Hurlis Moy. And so they were, Doris Mills Moy wanted to go to Greenville, North Carolina for the annual Mills reunion.
Can I just pull people back? So there's a family that's originally the Mills family.
Originally the
Mills. They
Mills.
come from Haddock's
Crossroad, yes. It's Winterville, North Carolina. Right.
And now a lot of people in New Haven
yes.
descend from that family. Like how many would you say?
Oh, hundreds, thousands could be. Yes, a lot of relatives within that tree that starts from Roland Mills and Caroline Brooks Mills from 1828, which was from the Haddock's Crossroad community of Pitt County. They had about 10 children of their own, and then he had another from Ann Eliza Mills himself.
So you say today there are hundreds or even thousands?
Oh, there are hundreds,
in New Haven.
In New Haven alone.
In New
descendants
Haven.
upon
remember,
descendants.
We're 130,000 city.
Yeah, well,
so you're saying that as much as a whole percent of the city might come from them.
Yeah, and so what happens is they may not have the same last name as
of course.
Mills, but they are direct descendants through their mother or through their grandmother or through their great-grandmother or great-grandfather.
Do you remember, do you happen to know when the first Mills came to New Haven?
Now, I believe some of the first Mills side of my family came to New Haven in the 40s. In the 50s, my dad came to New Haven in the 50s. A lot of them came in the 50s. A lot of them came in the 60s. A lot of them came in the early 70s from Pitt County, North Carolina.
And was this because of the jobs at U.S. Repeating Arms?
Yeah, jobs. Pratt Whitney, U.S. Repeating Arms, Sergeant, G&O, Yale New Haven Hospital, to make things better for their families.
So they came up here. Did they always have a family feel? Was there always this sense in New Haven? I know there's a real North Carolina and even a South Carolina community in New Haven, people who stay connected. Has the Mills family since the 40s and 50s, as they grew so big in New Haven, did they keep in touch? Has there always been?
Yes, we are constantly in touch. We have our annual Mega Mills family reunion in Greenville, which was started by the late Charlie Mills Sr. and Velma Cox Mills. And that's why we wanted to go to North Carolina to start going to that reunion, to meet different relatives, to feel the home base.
So at some point, the people in New Haven said, we want to start going every year.
Exactly. Yes.
And was it every year?
It was every year from 1986 to 2002. We would charter buses to Greenville, North Carolina. Then the Mills reunion in Greenville decided to go every other year. So then our buses went from 2004 to 2018, and then we stopped in between because of COVID. But we picked it back up last year. The Mills reunion was back in session in North Carolina, where we had over 300 relatives.
So Sean, you told me you were part of the original group 40 years ago in 1985.
Yes.
Who said, we want to be connected to this. We want to go to Greenville, North Carolina.
Yes.
So you started organizing in 85, 86. You started chartering the buses.
Yes. 86.
Why did you do that? You were a late teenager then. What drew you to this?
It was because of Doris Mills Moy and her sister Mary Mills Green and others. Louise Mills Hardy, who is the mother of Pastor Kevin Hardy, who is the pastor of St. Matthew. They wanted to go to Greenville, North Carolina. So we thought we would try it. So we called different relatives, and we had a meeting one night at September 10th, 1985 on Bassett Street. And so the meeting started then, and then we would go to different homes in the community. That's Mills relation, and we would meet and fellowship.
Now, back then, we didn't have online DNA info.
No, we had to call them. We had to call them up on the telephone.
So how did you know who was all related?
Well, because
Who kept track?
Well, what happened was we had certain relatives we would call that might be interested, and of course, I knew all their numbers. And then if I didn't have their number, my cousin Doris Mills Moy had the number.
Now, again, you were late teen. A lot of late teenagers don't get so interested in family. They're kind of busting out in the world. Well, what was it that young Sean felt? Why he cared?
I think because I knew about Haddock's Crossroad. That's where my grandmother lived on my father's side. My mother was from Aden, Iredell Carr Hardy. I love her dearly. She was from Aden. But my grandmother, Delphia Mills Hardy, who was the oldest of 15 children to Henrietta Adams Mills and Kelly Mills Sr., lived on the crossroad. And her brother lived across the road. Her baby brother lived up the road. Her mother and father lived in a big house. The school was down the road. The churches were down the road. So most of the relatives in that area was relation on the Mills side. So I grew up when we would go to Greenville, North Carolina. We would visit my father's family and my mother's family.
So you were already familiar with taking trips to North Carolina?
Yes.
And were those special trips to you?
They were special. My dad, it was really special, really more special to my dad and my mom, because at that time they had their own relatives living, their aunts and uncles. My dad's mother was living. She passed away when I was 18 years old. And so he would go see her, go see a lot of his aunts and uncles at the time who were living. And he had siblings. His oldest sister and his second oldest sister lived in a city down the road, which is called Aden, North Carolina.
What was it like when you would visit there compared to what life was like in New Haven?
Well, it was different. Was
the pace different? Were the people different?
The people was an age difference. Of course, the people was different. They was always hospitable. They was always kind. And they loved to cook. Lord have mercy, they loved to cook. And so when you went there, it was always like a family reunion. When you go to the house, they would be excited to see my parents. They would be excited to see us. We would walk the crossroad, especially if we was in Aden. We would walk the crossroad to different relatives' house to see how they was doing,
now,
to say hello.
What is the crossroad?
It had its crossroad.
But what does it mean to walk the crossroad?
Well, walk because everybody at the crossroad was related.
Oh.
So you would go from house to house. You would go down to the corner store and everybody was your cousin, like that.
Oh, that's interesting. And what kind of food was cooked at these events?
Oh, Lord, collard greens and chopped barbecue and macaroni and cheese and fruit cake and sweet potato pie and cheese biscuits, all that kind of good stuff.
So you remember those fondly. So at 18, you started being involved. And after a year, you were helping organize buses
helping them out.
down to North Carolina. And is it my understanding that it was only until recently that you always went down there, because they used to do it annually, then biannually?
Yes.
And when did you start deciding, okay, now you start a chapter of the family?
We started the chapter, right. The Mills reunion, the Mills family lineages have always got together, whether it was the Coxes or the Greens or the Dawsons or the Hardys, even though they was from the same lineage. I have pictures of a reunion that we had in 1947 at my father's grandmother's house. Where they had a family reunion in 47 in North Carolina. They also had a family reunion in 1947 in Brooklyn, New York, because a lot of the relatives had migrated there. So they had a reunion there. And then the next weekend, they went to North Carolina.
When did you start doing stuff in New Haven?
We started doing the New Haven chapter started on September 10th, 1985.
And was that for the purpose of organizing trips to North Carolina?
That was for the purpose. Yes, we would raise money to help to create a cost so people be affordable to go. And we're still doing that.
How many people would go?
Well, we would have a bus load, which is 56 passengers. Many years, over 20 years, we had 2 buses. Mm-hmm. 1 year, we had 3 buses.
And where did everyone stay?
Hotels. They make their own reservations, or sometimes people would stay with their relatives. But we start in advance. We reserve 25 to 30 rooms at the hotel, or people decide what hotel they would like to stay at, or if they're going to stay with their relatives.
And what did it mean in New Haven to be so connected to this extended family with roots in the city that went so far back? What did it mean for you? Did it affect how you lived your life, what you did with your time, who you thought of yourself as, whom you turned to at times you needed help? What did it mean to have this network?
Well, it was very intriguing and very interesting to know that we come from rich heritage, rich history, rich legacy, and I was glad to be a part of my dad's legacy on his mother's side.
And what did that make you feel about who you were, to give you a sense of who you were, the way that religion can? Or
well, we was very religious. Baptist, Free Will Baptist. That part of the Mills line was Episcopal, and so we always had a spiritual upbringing. I grew up born and raised in Piss Chapel Church in New Haven, and then later on was Agape Love Center. So I started out in Piss Chapel because of my mom's mother, and so a lot of us from Piss Chapel and St. Matthew and different churches in New Haven, they were originally from Greenville, North Carolina.
And so, well, we're talking about the Mills family reunion. Been around in New Haven for 40 years, but the people have been around since the 1940s and 50s. Extended family. Sometimes hundreds go down to North Carolina. They're getting ready on September 14th at St. Matthew's Free Will Baptist Church on Dixwell Avenue to have a Connecticut reunion, which you're doing every other year, correct?
Connecticut is every year. But last year we had like a cookout, and so because this is the 40th, we're going to go to St. Matthew Church where Pastor Kevin Craig Hardy is the pastor. He's the son of Louise Mills Hardy, and he's the grandson of Simon Mills Sr. and Pauline Dixon Mills. So he's Mills because of his mother. Yes.
Now, can you walk me back from 1940s or before the early 1800s, your own line? Can you off the top of your head tell me whom you descended from directly from the 1800s? Because not many people can do that. My wife can do it, but not many people.
It started from Roland Mills. It was somebody before Roland Mills. There's a book out soon. It's going to be published called High Pines. Professor Harrington, my cousin in Greenville, North Carolina, did a book. We're just waiting for it to come out, and we're excited about that. But we start from Roland Mills.
How do you spell Roland?
Some people spell it Rollin or Roland.
How do you spell it?
Both.
Okay.
And on his federal census is Rolin. Well, on the 1860 census, he was listed as a free mulatto, free labor at the age of 32.
Okay.
So was
he born free?
I'm not for sure, but I know in 1860 he was free. Okay. And then after around 1870, he disappeared off the scene. Mm. But he married Caroline Brooks, who was a mulatto slave. She lived on the Brooks farm. They had about 8 or 9 children. I am from the Arnold line. He had a son named Arnold. Arnold Mills Sr.
was one of their sons.
Actually, I come from more than one line, but I'll just talk about Arnold. I'll just talk about Arnold Mills line for now.
And who is Arnold?
Arnold's my great-great-grandfather, and he had 2 wives. He married Olivia Cooper. He had Kelly Mills Sr. and Amos Mills, and Kelly is my grandfather. Then he married Lovey Shepherd.
Did the wife pass? Or?
Yes. Then he had Lovey Shepherd, and they had 10 children together.
And what did he do for a living? Do you know?
Farmer. He owned a lot of land. Entrepreneur through farming. He was one of the ones, him and his wife, that deeded land to the Pitt County school system for the Haddix Crossroads schools to be built so the kids can go to school there.
And both he and his father lived at Haddix Crossroads.
Yeah, the whole line, all the children lived in that area, in that community.
And Crossroads, does that mean a series of roads that intersect?
Well, there's a lot of other crossroads in that area, but we come from the Haddix Crossroads.
What I meant, it's not one street called Haddix.
It is.
Oh,
yes.
It is.
It's Haddix Crossroad. Now it's called County Home Road, but Haddix Crossroad is the name of it. And then you have Cox Mills Crossroad. Then you have other cross. Yes.
So now, so we got to the second one, Arnold. And who was your next descendant?
Arnold had Kelly.
And Kelly was your
my grandfather, great grandfather.
And then tell me about Kelly.
And then Kelly married Henrietta Adams.
And what did Kelly do for a living?
Kelly, landowner, a lot of farming. He owned a lot of property in the Hatters Crossroad community. He was one of the founders, the originators, him and his brother and some cousins of the St. Stephen's Episcopal Church that was in, it was organized in 1922, and the church lasted about 55 years. They was Episcopal. I have the newspaper clipping for that and everything. They started on a Thursday night around 1922. Yes.
So then who...
And then Kelly married Henrietta Adams. She was the daughter of Shade Adams and the first Delphia Mills Adams. That was her mother.
Delphia?
That was the first Delphia, because my grandmother was named Delphia as well.
Is that Delphia?
Yes, it is. Yep. Then they had 15 children.
And which one of you was your of that group?
Delphia was my grandmother.
Delphia was your
Delphia was my grandmother. So Arnold Mills, going back to him, he had 10 siblings. So a lot of us, like the Tills and the Dawsons and the Moys, the Daniels, we all come from out of those 10 children. All of our grandparents or great-grandparents are siblings.
We're already up to your grandma.
My grandmother was Delphia Mills. She married Noah Hardy. She was a daughter of Henrietta and Kelly.
And then she, Hardy's...
She married a Hardy.
Which Hardy?
She married Noah Hardy, my grandfather.
Noah?
Yes.
And what did they do? Tell me about them.
My grandmother, in the beginning years, she taught in the community. She was basically a homemaker. My grandfather owned a lot of land in the area, because a lot of them did, in the Hatters Crossroad community. He was also a deacon. His father was a moderator, like over the Free Will Baptist churches in that area after moderator Amos Blunt. The Hardys, yes. That's on my grandfather's
I'm sorry, on the other side. Okay.
That's on the Hardy
side. So
yeah.
They still lived in Greenville.
They still lived at Hatters Crossroad. My grandfather, Noah Hardy, died in 1959. My grandmother, Delphia Mills Hardy, died in 1984.
I remember you told me. Okay, so then who's the next one? Is your parents, right?
My father's was James Hardy. He married my mother, who I love dearly, Iredell Carr.
And how you spell Iredell?
Eradell, and she was a Carr, and her mother was an Atkinson.
Okay, so even the Carrs are all tied in here.
Yeah, all
and
of
the
us.
Atkinsons.
Yeah, the Blunt.
You basically give me half the name.
I'm telling you, so it's a lot of people.
So when did they come up here? Who came up here?
My father came up here first.
And what brought him up? Which job?
Jobs and better living.
Which job?
He started at G&O Manufacturing Company.
G&O?
Yeah, he worked there from the late 50s.
And that's the one by Universal Drive?
Exactly. He worked
right by the North Haven border.
Yeah, he worked there for 35 years.
Which became the home of New Haven Register. They filled up stakes. Okay. Yeah. And he worked there 35 years.
Almost 35 years. And he also, while he was working there, he was working at St. Raphael Hospital part-time for 14 years.
St. Raphael?
Mm-hmm.
What did he do there?
I think he worked in maintenance or the operating room, something like that.
And then your mom, Iredell? My
mother, Iredell, she was a licensed beautician for 10 years. She worked at the Old Grace New Haven. She wanted to go back and further her education, so she graduated with her associates. Then she got her bachelor's, and then she graduated with her master's in special education from Southern Connecticut.
Oh, jeez. And then where did you guys live?
When my mother first came to New Haven, her and my dad lived on Canal Street near Ashland. Then they moved to Eastern Circle, and then we lived on Vernon Street in New Haven for over 32 years.
Is that how you grew up?
Basically, well, I was born and raised in Eastern Circle, but I moved to Vernon Street when I was about 12.
And that's because I know one of your other family members here is Lieutenant Anthony Dawson.
That's my cousin. That's my grandmother's nephew.
And he was right around the corner,
right around the corner, yes.
Did you know him growing up?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
So did you spend a lot of time among Mills family?
The Mills family is very tight. The Mills descendants very tight, and they really. The Greenville people are beautiful anyway on both sides of my family, all my relatives. But we really have a tight connection when it's good, when it's not good, when we're struggling, when we're not struggling. We maintain and we try to keep it together.
Tell me some stories about that in the course of your life when that Mills and Hardy family connection
sometimes
came through for you?
Came through for me. Me personally, at illnesses, when I had major brain surgery a few years back, they was there for me.
How were they there?
Supporting me at the hospital.
So they came to visit you.
Rehab, bringing me food, praying with me, calling me up on the phone, making sure I was all right.
And how many people did that in the family?
A whole lot. One time I think we had to slow them down a little bit, along with my my other two besties in New Haven.
Could you give me a ballpark number?
Oh my goodness! One time I think I had over 100 people outside my room.
This is what's so meaningful to me and amazing.
Yeah.
And when was that?
That was about 5 years ago. Yes.
So 5 years you had brain cancer. I'm so glad you recovered.
Yeah.
And you had more than 100 relatives.
Yeah, they was getting down with
Is it the Mills Hardy
It was
family?
the Mills descendants, the Hardy line, and my mother's line. It was a whole lot of different relatives.
But that's a beautiful thing.
It was a beautiful thing, and they still support one another.
For most of us.
Yes,
that's not how most of us live.
Yes.
So, what do you think? What has this meant for you as a person to live in that world your entire life with so many relatives? Is it sometimes seem like too much? Like I have no privacy.
No, I kind of love every bit of it. You know, I love when they call me up and say, "Come eat, come to dinner," or we having a cookout, and me and my best friends go over. I don't care where we at. They include us, and they include my friends, my buddies. And so it's a great joy to have that. I'm not a cook. It didn't hit me. My mother's cooking, that anointing of cooking went over my head. But I have some relatives who are just phenomenal. And they don't mind sharing the love, and they don't mind cooking, and they don't mind sharing the food.
And then how about giving it back? I have a feeling that you're one of those 100+ people who call up in the hospital. Like how often, how many times a week are you checking in on somebody or coming through for somebody?
I do that often. I try to be there for people to the best of my ability, spiritually and naturally. For family, whatever I'm able to do.
It's a lot of family.
A lot of family. we get it done. How we get it done, and then the reunions down south are so beautiful. I mean, we have Friday night. We used to have a fish fry. We have a welcoming. Connecticut does a spread. We have food catered. Then we have a Mills Family Reunion genealogy workshop where we take it from 1828 to 2025.
Tell me about that. Are you part of that genealogy?
I'm part of that genealogy.
So what do you do in
I'm
that
humble.
workshop?
Well, we have a committee. Charlie Mills family started it. Charlie Mills and Velma Cox Mills, they started it. So they have a daughter, Deborah. Their children, Brenda and Renee and Debbie, and Debbie's on the genealogy committee along with some other committee members. And we try to work that committee to let people know how to relate it. Last year was over 400 photos in the genealogy room activities, which was unbelievable. So many people saw how they was connected.
Now, Sean, you're not that much younger than I am.
No, I'm really young.
How do you remember those names?
Well,
how do you remember so many names? This is bizarre.
Well, I know it's
in a good way, good kind of bizarre.
But it's good. I used to visit different relatives' house, and they would show me their relatives' pictures, and they would talk about different names, and that's how I learned. And going to family reunions, and then we always close out with church service. On Sunday, we close out with a good church service and good singing, good shouting, good music. I usually have one of my best friends who's the assistant principal at Hill House. He comes and he's our musician, Dr. John DeBerman, for the last 20 years.
Wait, is he related?
He's my BFF.
Oh, okay.
He's my BFF. 20 years, over 20 years.
Yeah. Good musician.
And so I bring him with me and Nathan, and then we have flyers made so you would know. So my cousin Kiva Moy sometimes makes the flyers. Devon Coleman makes the flyers. Dr. Willie McKay made this flyer.
Mm-hmm.
This last flyer.
I love this one with the Haddocks.
Yeah, Haddocks Crossroad. That's where it started at. So you have the Teals and the Daniels and the Hardys and the Coxes and the Campbells and the Wilsons and the Smiths and the McLaughlins and the Adams and the Stevensons. We all coming together on Sunday, September 14th for Connecticut's 40th anniversary celebration.
So tell me what's going to happen that day.
Well, we're going to have service.
It's more than one day, right? Oh, it's one day.
No, it's just one day. We're going to do something else later on before Thanksgiving to try to have fundraisers to, help raise money for the account, the bank account, so we can continue to do great things for the family and the community. And so we're getting ready for that. We're going to St. Matthew Church, like I said. Pastor Kevin Hardy, my cousin, is the pastor and overseer there. And we're excited about going. We try to get our relatives out. So if you're listening to me, service start at 10 a.m. They're very on time. We're going to have a good time. And then we probably fellowship a little bit afterwards.
And is it going to be a big meal?
Well, a little something for the committee, some close encounters.
How many people do you expect there?
Well, I'm hoping that we get at least over 50 relatives or over 100 relatives. We just want them to come and bring their aunts, to bring their children. This is how you get to know how you're related to people, because we have a big following in New Haven.
Are you going to spread out a lot of photos again?
I am. I'm going to take a lot of pictures. I'm the picture man. So I'm going to take
like these ones you have. Are you going to show people their relatives?
I think so. I'm going to bring them. I think we're going to bring them. Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
So what else do you want people to know? You said the community at large. You want them to know about this. How are they going to be involved?
And then if you also would like to donate to the Mills Family Reunion, you can make checks or money orders payable to Mills Family Reunion. We also have an account. We got to have your blessing. We also have a cash app, $143KA. $143KA. And that is under, you'll see my cousin Diane name pop up.
All right.
We are excited.
Hey, I love hearing about your story for a few reasons, Sean. First of all, it's just a lovely story, how much family has meant to you, how connected you've been, how flowing it is, and yet connected in this time when our world is so disconnected and we need connections so bad. And I'm just inspired that in these times there can be such a important bedrock family in this community that hangs together and cares about each other.
Yes. I'm excited. I thank God for it. I'm grateful. I'm humble. I'm humbled to be here today that you asked me, Paul, to be a part of this. And I'm glad to be a part of all my lineages because I don't want to leave nobody out on my other side.
And then there's a whole separate Hardy reunion, right?
Hardy Mills.
Hardy Mills.
Because my grandmother was a Mills. My grandfather was a Hardy.
All right, we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah. But next year we're going to the Mills reunion. We're back in session. We're going to have our buses and hotels. So we hope we get support 4th of July weekend 2026 in Greenville, North Carolina.
All right. And I hope it goes great on the 14th.
Thank you.
So glad you're in the community. Every time I see you around, I feel good.
I'm humble, grateful, likewise. Thank you.
All right, Sean Hardy. Thanks to Harry Droz behind the controls. We're going to take it out with the Afro-Semitic Experience performing I Wish I Knew How It Feel to Be Free from the group CD A Plea for Peace. Until next time, this is Paul Bass inviting to fly free with us at WNHH FM.